Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to tell you guys how often you should wash your dog. This is my chocolate lab Sadie, who isn't really thrilled about being in the bathtub right now, as you can tell. Typically people actually wash their dogs too often. Studies do show that it should only be done on occasion, basically when your dog needs it, when you notice an overall odor or you notice that their coat is especially dirty. When they're bathed too often, it's actually not good for your dog's skin. A dog's skin naturally makes healthy oils that keep the skin and coat moisturized, and when you bathe them, it strips those oils, which once in a while isn't a bad thing because the skin will produce more oil to replace those. But if you're bathing your dog, say multiple times a week, weekly, bi-monthly, it continues to strip those oils and the skin and coat don't get the nutrients that they need. So bathing too often strips those oils, and you don't want to do that. Typically, a dog really only needs to be bathed a few times a year, maybe 3 to 4 times a year. Every few months is kind of a good general rule of thumb. It does depend on the dog. It depends on the breed and the coat type and the skin condition as well. So really the best thing that you can do a little bit of research on your dog, breed, coat type, talk to a professional groomer, talk to your veterinarian, talk to an expert that can help you evaluate your dog's needs. There are certain breeds that are kind of naturally more odorous than others. There are some dogs that don't need to be bathed really at all hardly, and some dogs that maybe need to be bathed more often, once a month or once every couple of months. And then of course, that kind of comes with the territory of grooming. Some dogs that need regular haircuts and things like that may get bathed when they're at the groomers to get rid of dirt, debris, tangles before they get a haircut. So it really depends on the dog, but a good rule of thumb is just a few times a year, every 3 or 4 months is pretty good. Like I said, when you notice an odor, or if your dog gets into something that makes him odorous, a skunk perhaps, then it's bath time. But remember that bathing and rinsing are two very different things. A bath is the full bath. You use the shampoo, which is what strips the oils. If your dog just gets a little muddy, or gets, say, he goes swimming outdoors and you just want to kind of rinse off some of that water. A great example is when Sadie swims in a pool. If there's chemicals in the pool, I always rinse her off. Or if she swims in water and it's a little murky, just to get that dirt and debris out of her coat, I rinse her off. But a rinse and a bath are two different things, so you can rinse as often as you need to. Of course, when you do bathe your dog, you want to make sure that you use a shampoo. I have 2 here, one from Zojix and one from Four Legger. I've done a lot of different product reviews if you're looking for shampoos, and there's tons of great information on our website, topdogtips.com. But you want to use a shampoo that's specifically made for dogs. A dog's skin has a different pH than humans, and as I mentioned, it makes those oils that the skin and coat need to be healthy. So you want to use a shampoo that's specifically made for dogs to help balance that pH and reduce the amount of oil that is stripped from the skin and coat. Absolutely do not use human shampoo. It's not made for a dog's skin pH level. It's not made for their coat. It's not made for their skin. So don't do that. And how do you know if you're bathing your dog too often? You would notice, you can see Sadie's coat has a nice shimmer, shine, gleam, whatever you want to call it. You can see that. That's those oils that I'm talking about. If you're bathing too often, the coat's going to look dry. It's going to feel brittle. The skin is going to be maybe flaky. So when you scratch your dog, you're going to notice, see Sadie, there's nothing there when I scratch her except for some shed fur. But there's no flakes. You'll notice that your dog may be itchy because of that dry skin and dry coat. So those are some signs you might be bathing too often. Thanks for tuning in to this video guide. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to email me.